What's good, everybody? I want to jump on here because the NFL just last week had their NFL owners meetings. All the owners got together. They obviously reviewed the new rules that were going to be implemented this upcoming season. And the head coaches were in attendance as well, and they were able to address the media. So the GMs talked to the media a little bit, the head coaches talked to the media, and I paid attention to what they were talking about. And the tough part about that is probably 95% of what you hear come out of GM and head coaches' mouths are basically a big smokescreen, right? They're trying to throw stuff out there to, maybe disguise what they're trying to do or, influence some other teams to make moves to better help their situation, whether it be in the upcoming draft or whether it be in free agency. And so a lot of what I hear the GMs and head coaches talk about, I really don't take it um, to heart. I take it with a grain of salt, basically. But every once in a while, you hear something that might give you an indication as to what the mentality of your head coach or GM is or the direction that they might be going. And so you're one of those that want to see us jump up into that number 2, 3, possibly 4 spot in this year's draft. Let me know in the comment section down below. But if you do want to see us jump up into one of those top spots, this is going to be a video you want to pay attention to because I think Antonio Pierce might have given us a little bit of insight as to what might happen come draft day. So pay attention to this one because Antonio Pierce, he sat down with a lot of the NFL insiders, some of the beat writers that cover the Las Vegas Raiders, and he sat down there was one interview that was about almost 40 minutes. And there was one piece of that interview that kind of caught my attention. And so I want to touch on it and kind of get you guys' opinion on it. But before I do, if you could please like this video, subscribe, turn on those notifications. I'm doing my 4th giveaway since starting this channel. Want to hit 300 or 3,000 subscribers. So if you want to be a part of that, hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification so you know when I do hit it, I will announce that giveaway when it goes down. So again, I appreciate all my subscribers. I appreciate you guys viewing and girls viewing this video right now. I appreciate all you guys. This is just my way of saying thank you and showing my appreciation. So let's kind of get into it, right? Antonio Pierce addressed the media and he was answering a bunch of questions. A lot of the questions when he answers them, it's very general, right? I want to be aggressive in the draft. We want to make sure we make the right moves. XYZ player is really good and we're really taking a good look at him. A lot of scouts will go to other players' pro days, and go check them out and whether or not they're truly interested in them. Sometimes they just go to those pro days to see what other teams are thinking about that player and whether or not are they going to be aggressive and maybe try to go after him, jump up to go get him, or are they going to stay put? Is this player going to potentially fall in the draft? Just because a scouting team or a head coach or a general manager shows up at a player's pro day doesn't mean all of a sudden they're extremely interested. Sometimes they're just trying to get intel as to what the other teams are doing. So, but again, in this specific interview, there was a reporter that basically asked Antonio Pierce this question. He basically said, obviously the O-line is a need that we need to address, whether it be in the draft or free agency. And he said, do you want to address that right away? Are you going to be aggressive in the draft and address that right away? And one of the things that Antonio Pierce said is, I want to address it right away. He goes, I want to win now. I want that. I'm in that mentality now that I'm the head coach is I want to win now. I want to address it. I want to go after it. But then he kind of ended it with, but I also understand there's a process. There's a process to winning. And so that kind of tells me, okay, like AP coming from his pedigree, right? Coming from him being a Super Bowl champion, playing at one of the highest levels a player can in the NFL and finding so much success. He's a go-getter, right? He's going to want to go get his guy. And that's what he said. I want to go get my guy. But again, he ended it with, but I understand that there's a process to winning. The next question that came up directly after that one was from Hondo Carpenter, the Sports Illustrated beat writer that's inside the walls of the Las Vegas Raiders locker room, the practice facility. And he basically stated that Tom Telesco is very cap disciplined. He's being very cap. He's being very careful how he's spending that cap, the capital, right? Whether it be through free agency or what have you, and he's probably going to be just as careful when it comes to the draft. And you can look at cap money, right? The salary cap. You could also look at that as draft capital. And you know, Hondo Carpenter asked Antonio Pierce, "What have you learned through this process?" Because again, Antonio Pierce is extremely new to this, not just being a head coach, not just being an NFL coach in itself. He was coaching high school football 5 years ago, so he is learning the ropes of the NFL on the coaching side. And so he asked him, "What have you learned from Tom Telesco?" And the way Antonio Pierce responded was he basically said, "I'm a young bull. I want that big player. I want it now." But what he also said is he understands that Tom Telesco, he has that mutual respect that Tom Telesco knows what he's doing. He's built a good roster. He's been through this. He understands that. He has learned through Tom Telesco to be patient. There's other ways to do things. There's other ways to accomplish what you're trying to do. And I'm going to get to where this all kind of pieces it together as to what I think might happen. Um, and he also went on to say that Tom Telesco's kind of showing him that there's other ways to do it. We can still accomplish what we want to do without having to pay such an expensive price. Again, whether that's cap money or that's draft capital. And so there's so much talk about the Las Vegas Raiders trying to jump up and get to that number 2 spot to get Jaden Daniels, or potentially get to that number 3 spot, to get that quarterback. Or let's say Jaden Daniels for some reason drops past number 3 and he's sitting at number 4. Do we want to jump up? Now, keep in mind, there are a ton of other teams that need quarterbacks. And so they're going to be fielding tons of offers. And so it's not like just our one offer is going to seal the deal. We're going to be battling. It's going to be a bidding war. Let's put it that way. And so with Tom Telesco being a brand new GM to the Las Vegas Raiders, how do you show your worth? You show your worth by performing in free agency and performing through the draft. And if you give up the next 3 years of draft capital, you won't be able to show your worth in that way. So I think Tom Telesco would be very hesitant to give up a ton of first-round draft picks, a ton of second-round draft picks to go get that one guy. And so, but what Antonio Pierce is saying is that he's learning from Tom Telesco the other ways to accomplish your end goal. And the end goal is to win. And if you are one of those that want us to jump up into that, maybe 2, 3, possibly 4 spot, I'm not sure and this is just my opinion. You can argue me in the comments down below. I hope you do if you have a difference in opinion, because I get in that comment section. I reply to you guys. I like that back and forth. This is why I do it. But I don't know, and I don't see Tom Telesco jumping up to that number 2, number 3, number 4 spot. I just don't. And based on what Antonio Pierce, what he just said, his answers back to those reporters, it tells me that as much as Antonio Pierce is that go-getter, as much as he does want his guy, he wants to win now, he wants to be aggressive, he wants to take that player mentality that he had back when he was playing with the Giants, he wants to bring that to the head coaching role, which means be aggressive. That means you go get your guy. Don't let anybody outbeat you for what you want to do. But at the same time, he's learning a lot from Tom Telesco. At the same time, I think he's learning there's other ways to achieve your goal without going and get that shiny object that is floating in front of you. You can be more strategic on how you reach your goal. And so I don't know. I don't know if Tom Telesco is going to trade up. I just don't see it happening, in my opinion. And again, I'll give you another note. Look at Tom Telesco's history as a GM when he was with the San Diego Chargers / Los Angeles Chargers. Look at his draft history. He doesn't move up in the draft. He just doesn't. I think he did it one time and he moved, I think it was around 3 or 4 spots. But the 10, 11 years I believe he was the GM for the Chargers, he doesn't move. And so I don't see why he would do it now. Antonio Pierce is a brand new head coach. He wants to move. He wants to be aggressive. He's new at this. Tom Telesco, as much as he wants to prove himself as a good GM, he's already had the history to prove that he could build a good roster. And that's what he did. He built a great starting roster. Maybe the depth needed a little bit of work, but he built a great roster. So he's not new at this. So he has a little bit less to prove than what Antonio Pierce does. And so I think Tom Telesco can be patient. I think he could be more methodical. He could be more strategic when he approaches free agency and he approaches the draft. And I think he showed that. I think he showed that by providing Josh Jacobs with a good contract, but not overpaying. Green Bay overpaid for Josh Jacobs. But I think Tom Telesco showed kind of what his strategy is when it came to that Josh Jacobs move. And he was smart. He was strategic. He wasn't going to overpay. He was only going to do what he knew was right for the organization and the overall plan for what the Raiders want to do. So let me know in the comments down below, guys. I'm just taking this for what I see. And again, 99% of what head coaches and GMs throw out there is basically a smokescreen. It's a chess game. But sometimes you pick up on just a little bit to where if you think Antonio Pierce is going to be aggressive and wants his guy, is going to do whatever it takes to go get his guy, like Jaden Daniels, because of the history and the ties that he has, you might have Tom Telesco pumping the brakes a little bit and teaching Antonio Pierce, look, there's other ways to do it without it being so expensive and giving up basically the farm to go get it. So again, guys, let me know your thoughts. Let me know in the comments down below. Just want to come on here and talk to you guys about that and maybe get in a little bit of discussion in that comment section. So I appreciate you. If you could, please like this video, subscribe, turn those notifications. Again, next giveaway, 4th giveaway since starting my channel. When I hit 3,000 subscribers, get included in that if you want to. Hit that subscribe button. I appreciate you guys. Hope you have the great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm out.